everyone, and welcome to Cosmologies. I'm your host, Natalie, and this podcast is part of a community of inquiry where we explore the intersections between science, spirit, and the human experience. The word cosmology has two interrelated meanings. On one hand, it can refer to the scientific study of the origin and development of the universe. However, the word cosmology can also refer to a story or ideology that explains how we and the world around us came to be. You might hear the word in these two different contexts, scientific and anthropological. But if you think about it, it's really kind of the same thing. Science is, after all, just the process we use to formulate our newest theories and stories about how everything exists the way it does, and, by extension, how we can create new things inside of those parameters. And you don't have to look too hard to find nuggets of what we know today in ancient stories the world over. So, our goal is to explore the empirical facts, as well as the stories, mythologies, traditions, beliefs, arts, and more that create our reality. I think of this kind of exploration as a curious, exciting, and deeply fulfilling lifelong journey. And if we're going on a part of this journey together, it's only right that you should know a bit more about me and my personal biases. I wear a lot of hats, and one of them is science interpreter. I'm a museum educator and solar system ambassador, and sometimes I work for a planetarium company. On the flip side of things, I have a BFA in musical theater and work in the Seattle Fringe Theater community as a director, playwright, performer, and more. I'm also an avid hiker, backpacker, and mountain ecology enthusiast, and I've published an illustrated poetry novella about a long hike through the seasons of the heart and the Pacific Northwest. Above all, I enjoy blending my worlds, and I've spent a lot of years taking the facts and ideas that fill me with wonder and translating them into classrooms, planetariums, theaters, poetry, and late-night conversations under the stars. In terms of my personal cosmology, I identify as a scientific pantheist and a non-denominational pagan. My beliefs are grounded in curiosity, wonder, adventure, and gratitude, and as such, I find the sacred and awesome in a lot of things. Some things I find especially magical are trees, seasons, and the Earth-Moon-Sun system. So, a lot of our early work on this channel will be grounded in astronomy, because that is my pet science and a perfect dovetail to a lot of the stories in the world. Astronomy is considered by many to be the oldest science, as there are references to the cycles of the sky dating back all the way to the Paleolithic period. But here's the rub. The cosmos are rarely intuitive. Now, I don't know if you've witnessed the viral video of shopping channel folks arguing about whether the moon is a planet or a star, but it's pretty damning of our education system. The thing is, though, they're not alone. Let's face it, even if you do know that the moon is a natural satellite of the Earth, it's impossible to know everything about the systems of the universe. And people who don't make a career out of studying these systems might not ever hear the truth about some things outside of their primary school classrooms. More importantly, there are a lot of charlatans and conspiracy theorists out there looking specifically to make a dollar off of people not knowing stuff. Anti-intellectualism is an issue in the world in general right now, and unfortunately, it can be especially rampant in spiritual communities. And I just think that people deserve better than that. I want to show you some amazing facts about our universe, because that, to me, is magical. And I want to share real science without discounting that anyone can be a scientist, that there are also historical, emotional, and psychological pieces of the puzzle, and that metaphor, interpretation, and ritual are powerful. You may have caught that I said this podcast was just part of a community of inquiry, and some listeners may be aware of the Cosmologies YouTube channel, which is where I started this little project. In previous episodes, I would release one lesson video along with a longer guest interview video every month. This channel remains active and is a great place to find all of the content we've made on this journey so far, as well as any special video or live content going forward. However, I, like many of you, find myself spending a lot of time on the computer screen these days due to the worldwide pandemic. And after spending 8 or more hours a day delivering digital content at work, the last thing I wanted to do was edit all of the really cool video I had for these episodes. Podcasting is much gentler on my strained eyes, migrainey head, and poor overloaded laptop. It's also much faster to edit, which leaves me more time to spend outside on the trails in the real world and researching content. I also noticed that, with a few very notable exceptions, I don't really enjoy watching video essays or interviews on YouTube, but I do adore podcasts. And I figured that folks like me who like learning, but also like hands-on projects, cross-country road trips, and just walking around, would appreciate a podcast a lot more. Of course, some things in the cosmos are much easier to see than they are to hear about, which is why I didn't start with a podcast, but for that reason, we're not dropping video entirely. I also wanted to make this a community resource, and for that, we need to have community, not just a didactic stream. So this is the perfect opportunity to switch some of the video content to be what my guests and I do best, workshops and live streams. I'm also going to be posting more of our graphics on the Cosmologies Instagram and maybe Twitter. Which leads me to the same caveats that I introduced on YouTube. First, I am a full-time teacher and multimedia artist in a pandemic. I actually hate living in the online world, and I'm trying to spend less time in it, so I'm not fantastic with social media. The world is also very unpredictable right now, so I'm going to try dropping a new episode every month on the new moon. In 2021, that's around the middle of the month and will get earlier and earlier throughout the year. And you can listen each month or follow our social media for more information about upcoming workshops or video. Second, and more importantly, neither I nor any of my guests on this channel can claim to have all of the answers. We are all students with vastly different lived experiences and courses of study, and we are all in different places on our journeys. The great thing about science is that we must constantly go back and rebuild our picture of how the world works based on new things that we learn, and I want to hold the same kind of openness for the other ideas we discuss here. I believe that there is a vast array of human experiences, and many of them can be studied empirically and published, but there are others that you have to feel in your feet, your lungs, or elsewhere. Finally, I can't read every article or have every experience, so if I say something that's wrong or that you disagree with, please drop us a line. I'm learning, I'm not infallible, and my perspective is extremely limited. Also, feel free to reach out if there's any intersection of science, magic, theology, history, art, or more that you want to cover, or any particular person that you feel that we should interview. You can reach us at cosmologieschannel@gmail.com. Okay, with those caveats out of the way, I hope you'll stay tuned for our upcoming episode, which is a deep dive on the planet Mercury, and will feature some very special guest stars who will share some occult wisdom with us all about messenger gods. Next week is also the Chinese Lunar New Year, and if you want to hear all about lunar calendars, Chinese cosmology, or our interviews with Hong Kong STEM educator Ricky Chui, check out last month's videos on the Cosmologies YouTube channel. And, of course, if you want to join the journey, subscribe to Cosmologies wherever you're currently listening. And you can also subscribe to us on YouTube at Cosmologies, Instagram at Cosmologies Channel, and Twitter at Cosmo_Logies. And all of those links will be posted in the episode description. Last, but certainly not least, our episode music was written by one of my favorite collaborators, Seattle's incomparable Aaron J. Shea, and you can find his website in the description as well. I am really excited to take this show in a more intimate and sustainable direction, so thank you for listening. Until we meet again, know that you are wonderful. Welcome to Cosmologies.